Some people are just good listeners, and then there are the professionals. Our next guest is the owner of Self Haven, which offers integrative services including mental health yoga sessions, wellness workshops, and one-on-one female counseling. Today, she's going to share about the benefit of self-care and boundaries within relationships. Stay tuned to the end, where she will share the 3 C's of self-care. Licensed mental health counselor, yoga instructor. She'll kick your ass at video games and then ask you, how does that make you feel? Melissa Garner, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Well-rounded person you are.
I try.
So when you said boundaries and self-care are necessary in a relationship, I think I thought about that for days after you told me that, because I never even thought of that. So first of all, how do you even know that you need that in your relationship?
Yeah, boundaries is kind of on a spectrum. And when you think about boundaries, a lot of people are thinking, keeping people out and,
fences,
walls and armor. And there is a place for that. Certainly when you go into battle, you wear your armor, but you also don't wear your armor around your best friends and the people you're trying to connect with. So there's a time and a place to have those walls up if you're in a dangerous environment, of course. But if you're trying to connect with someone who has shown that they have your best interest in mind and you want to have a closer relationship, then you kind of got to look at the safety of the environment. And then even then, it's hard to be vulnerable, to step out, to trust. But when it comes to relationships, I'd say that, that boundaries can go either enmeshed, where, the person has sort of lost their identity in this other person. It's always about what do they want and what do they think, and I am whoever you say I am. And then there's the other side of the spectrum where boundaries are way too firm, and I'm not letting anybody in, and I don't need anybody, and and maybe that's a good place, but I think needing somebody and wanting somebody is kind of different. And so learning when to open up, and then when also to stand up for yourself, those are big when it comes to healthy relationships.
Oh, I never thought of that as an actual boundary, is standing up for yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, boundaries really breaks down into a few different categories. It's really how you treat yourself, or the rules you set for yourself. I'm going to get up when my alarm tells me to. I'm going to, eat this way. I'm going to move this way. I'm going to surround myself with these kind of people. And I'm going to make some distance between myself and these toxic environments. And then, boundaries is also about how you interact with others, how much you're willing to go out of your way for them, and whether that's even a healthy thing. I'm going to tie my kid's shoes all the way till she's in college. That's not a healthy thing. It's nice, but it's not healthy.
That's a good way to become a meme.
Yeah. Come here, honey.
Yeah.
And then boundaries is about how much you're willing to tolerate. That you get to decide those rules for yourself. That it's not okay that you call me that name, or that you come and take my stuff without asking. Talk about growing up with my sister. Learn boundaries. I love you, Amy. But and so boundaries is really, and then also boundaries are about how you're going to respond when you are upset. When you do get into those disagreements, and am I going to allow myself to say everything that's on my mind? And without a filter. And, and I always say that filters exist for a good reason. It kind of blocks the junk that probably shouldn't come through. So we don't want to, we want to just be mindful of where we are in position to other people, and that helps us to be mindful of our decisions and to make the best possible choices for not only our relationship, but for ourselves as well. It takes a healthy individual to make up a good relationship.
Yeah.
Or 2 healthy individuals.
2, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, you have a relationship with yourself, but
yes. Definitely.
Not a lot of boundaries needed there.
Well, and your relationship with yourself is your self-esteem, and I say tons of boundaries regarding that. How you treat yourself.
That's true. Oh, I guess that's true. I never thought of that.
How you talk to yourself. I won't allow myself to go into a berating session on myself. It's just you've got a relationship with yourself. You might as well get along with yourself.
Do men and women struggle differently with boundaries? Because when you said the examples that you just said, I immediately thought of women because I'm normally around women. But do men struggle with this?
Well, I can't say that I specialize in men, but you have to ask a man. But I can speak, for women, I think especially we're sort of brought up thinking, different societies and different cultures, women are often seen as the ones that are supposed to be the support role, and nothing wrong with that. But I think that when giving gets to the point that your own self-care is on the line, where it's not sustainable, that's when that support role starts to become toxic for the individual. And as I said, again, tying shoes all the way through college, it can be toxic for the other person as well, enabling.
Yeah. I think women struggle with this issue of boundaries a lot. I just hear a lot, and the issue of self-care as well. And it's there's a lot of guilt. I feel like when God made women, he's like, here are your ovaries, and here's some guilt. Have fun. And it's like inescapable, and you're always the person that takes, I heard one woman describe it as you're always the one person that takes the burnt piece of toast. Let someone else take the burnt piece of toast, and you're always like, I'll eat last, and and it's such a beautiful thing, but as you said, can sometimes become harmful in the relationships that you care about the most.
Yeah, and and the red flags there would be to look at, are your needs going unmet every time? Again, there's going to be give and take in any relationship, but if it's always you being the one that's sacrificing, if that's leading to a place of starting to feel resentment or just your basic needs are not being met, then you start to see kind of a reverse. The person that you've been trying to support and put first, you're now starting to resent that person. It's like, when is it ever going to be, when do I get the nice piece of toast, or, or when do I get to sleep, or, when do I get to express how I feel about things?
Yeah.
And so not only are we sort of ingrained with that belief that our needs aren't as important, or that we're, supposed to sit and be quiet and smile, or, that we exist for the betterment of other people, then we sort of send this message that we don't matter. And that's just not sustainable, that, we can't continue to support others when we're falling apart ourselves. Right? It's hard to hold space for someone when you need that space for yourself first.
And that's kind of where the self-care comes in. But I see self-care being degraded to a hashtag right now. And I'm like, you got your nails done, and that's self-care. And maybe it is, because I don't know that person, but I don't feel like there might be something missing.
Yeah, self-care is, it can be getting the nails done and taking a nice bubble bath, and that's especially important for the person who doesn't take the time for themselves to have leisure, to have recreation or some sort of pampering for themselves. But sometimes self-care is uncomfortable. Sometimes it's about saying, no, I can't do that volunteer thing. I want to, but I don't have the resources right now. I don't have the time or energy, or I've got other priorities that need my space.
Oh my gosh, saying no as self-care, can that please be a new hashtag?
Yeah.
There's so many.
Sure.
Sure, let's do it. We'll get right on it. But there's so many ladies out there, especially, again, I don't know if any men struggle with this, so I guess someone will have to let me know. But,
I'm sure they do. In
but-
their own way.
In their own way. But yeah, no is the new self-care. Or yeah. I almost said no thank you, which is funny because that goes to the thing about, well, you have to be nice, and it's important to be nice, and how you make people feel is important. But yeah, I just kind of caught myself like that apologizing thing that chicks do.
Yeah, I need to take my own space. Is that okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that we can set boundaries with compassion. I think that that's where we get confused a lot, is that we feel that setting boundaries or saying no is synonymous with being mean or selfish or aggressive. And, and I think that there's a place where you can set boundaries and still be compassionate. Thanks for the offer, but that's not for me right now. Or, I'm sorry you're going through that. I'm going through my own thing that I got to take care of. That there is a time and a place to be firm with your boundaries, that sometimes the manners aren't going to cut it, that you have to stand up for yourself, and sometimes even sometimes even more assertively, less manners. And other times, if the relationship is safe, then that's where you can, offer a lot more compassion with your boundary setting. So, yeah, but it's not selfish. And that's something that gets thrown in with self-care is that, oh, I'll get to me when everybody else's needs are taken care
Yeah.
of. I don't want to be selfish. And again, selfishness, I think there's a spectrum to that. There's full-blown narcissism. I'm more important than everybody, and my needs are most important, and nobody else matters. And we're not going for that. Nor do we want to land in complete selflessness, where, again, we're starting to burn out, resent the people that we help and care for. Our own needs are not being met. And so we got to find that space right in the middle where you matter, I matter, we all matter, we're all going to do our part. And self-care is about taking care of the stuff that is within your control so that you can support others who are certainly out of your control.
Always. Always. How can a person who is listening to you right now and going, oh my gosh, that's me, what can they do? What's something that they can do towards boundaries or self-care that's like an easy, quick win, if you will?
I think that just taking time to reflect. We stay busy all the time. There's always going to be things to do, people to take care of, tasks to do. So we stay busy or numb or distracted, and that just keeps us from paying attention to what's going on in our own lives. And sometimes paying attention is hard because that brings up awareness, and awareness can be uncomfortable. If you're aware of a problem, now you're sort of on the spot to do something about it. But a lot of people don't approach problems like that. They see a problem and then they'll start to judge themselves for that. And so now we have a problem and we judge ourselves. Now we have two problems. So if we can set aside time for objective reflection, just paying attention for the sake of noticing what's not working so that we can get busy trying to do something about it. If it's within our control, then we can do some problem solving. If it's out of our control, then we can work on acceptance or seeing how we can adjust our environment to safely respond to whatever is out of our control. But yeah, I think taking time for personal reflection is a really big thing. That's what's going to give you an idea of what needs some care and what's a priority. In personal reflection, it can look like sitting down with a friend over lunch and talking about how you're doing. Not just to complain, but really to get some problem solving in there, to really start reflecting on what's within your realm of control and to take advantage of that, to put that into action, whatever's within your power. So it could be talking with a friend, it could be journaling, and again, journaling doesn't just have to be a big negative dump. It can be, here's what's going on in my life, and I want to change these things. I want to work on this. I want to incorporate more compassion, or I want to start setting more boundaries for myself. Meditation, which is, I think there's a lot of misconceptions there too. That
Oh, yeah.
Meditation, it must be just you're supposed to not think of anything, or you're supposed to just think positive thoughts, and that's not really the case. Meditation is just the practice of sitting down and noticing what kind of thoughts tend to happen in your mind, and are those thoughts helpful?
Yeah.
Are they relevant? Are they irrelevant? Are they completely destructive? And with a better awareness of what your thoughts are doing.
I think it brings a lot of mind-body connection too. I literally meditated this morning, and because I hadn't done it in a while, and I was like, I'm feeling like off, something's weird, and I just set my timer for 2 whole minutes. It's nothing great.
It's a start.
But you can just, for me, I feel like energy washing over me, and I imagine my brain is getting washed. Such a weird visualization, but like, welcome, right? Like, you're not new to me, so you know, you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. But it also helps me realize, like, oh, my shoulders are up underneath my ears. Okay. I can release that and let them down, or I have pain in my hip or tightness in my jaw, and then that can be a signal that I'm having certain emotions that I'm maybe not dealing with, because I kind of know where I hold emotions in what part of my body. So then I can start to, like you said, address them. And is that where the yoga comes in play for you? Because you said the reflection and this, was that how that part of your practice came to be?
I got into yoga because it just always made me feel better. I would go to yoga stressed, and I would leave feeling, well, that wasn't that big of a deal after all, or oh, I know what I can do about that now, or
Yeah.
so it always just helped me feel better. I never quite knew why until I started studying it. And so, yeah, but yoga definitely combines the mental and the physical aspects together. When they say anxiety is all in your head, well, that's just not the case. It definitely does start there with, the brain, and then the nervous system delivers all kinds of lovely anxiety symptoms to the rest of your body. Like
You're welcome.
Yeah, here you go. Which anxiety, it can, it's meant to be a helpful thing.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have it when we are in danger, but it can be really irritating when we're not in danger, and
Right.
and really get in the way.
That's really key. I think you just hit on something that we should listen to anxiety as a signal,
Right.
just as if I'm putting my finger over a flame. Ow, that's my body's signal like, hey, dum-dum, don't do that. So anxiety can be a signal that you need to deal with something or,
Right.
to make a change.
Right, like a little check engine sign on your car, like, hey, something's up.
Oh, I love that. What a great analogy.
Yeah, and sometimes something's wrong that is on the outside. Like, we're in danger, we need to get out of this dangerous situation and make a change. And sometimes it's more of the dangers on the inside. It's in our thought process that our own thoughts can make a pretty neutral situation or even a good situation feel like a bad one. For example, showing up here today and doing this for the first time, I'm like, ugh. So some understandable anxiety. Anytime you step out of your comfort zone, you can expect anxiety. It doesn't always mean it's dangerous or bad for you. But it is uncomfortable, and so it's at least worth a look. Am I in danger? And if so, what can I do to get to a safe place? Or am I just feeling like I'm in danger and I'm actually moving forward and growing in some way by trying new things or experiencing new, or trying something that's really difficult, like saying no, at the cost of somebody else being upset with that decision. Sometimes the anxiety is not an indication that you're on the wrong track. Sometimes it can mean that you're doing really good things. You're stepping out of your comfort zone and growing.
Or like you said, becoming aware that you need boundaries and self-care in your relationship, and being aware of those patterns that are trying to signal you, hey, this isn't working and this is not, as you said, sustainable.
Right.
So you said you had 3 C's of self-care
Yes.
that you wanted to share. So what's the first C?
Yeah. Well, I think that the first one would certainly be curiosity, and I use that word all the time in, working with my women, and teaching meditation, is to approach reflection and awareness with curiosity, that we don't know what we're going to find. And so, and again, with awareness, we tend to jump onto judgment right away. That's good, that's bad, it's my fault, it's their fault. And if we can approach with more of a sense of curiosity, especially listening to what our thoughts are doing, instead of, oh, why am I thinking that way? I'm so silly or ridiculous. Wow, I just had a really interesting thought pop in. Was it helpful? No, it was actually destructive. And so when we can approach our self-awareness with a sense of curiosity, then we're less likely to judge ourselves for it. And again, that judgment just gets in the way of problem solving or acceptance.
That's so good. And obviously, this is Meredith for real, the curious introvert.
Exactly.
So this is so perfect that you would say that. That's how I have overcome some of my anxieties, or whatever you want to call them, is just leaning into the curiosity of it, as though I were an alien looking down, like, what's going to happen next? Isn't this interesting? Isn't this exciting? And kind of reframing that. So what's the second C?
Well, with that curiosity, that's where I would bring in compassion. As I said, curiosity leads to questions, and questions are a good thing. Questions bring on knowledge and awareness, and with that awareness, you're in control of what you can change within your realm of control. And so when we can approach ourselves with curiosity and compassion, then we're not judging ourselves while we're bringing in awareness of maybe some bad habits or unhealthy environments or relationships. That again, setting boundaries, it can come with compassion. So I think that we're pretty quick to, we're pretty kind to others for the most part, but we have a hard time giving ourselves that same grace. So compassion, treating yourself with compassion, but also holding yourself accountable. And again, we can have both of those in the same space.
Yeah, compassion doesn't mean you get a pass.
Right.
Compassion, almost as if like you're your own parent, like mother yourself,
Right.
Where you can take care. If you were your mom, what would you tell yourself to do,
Right.
kind of thing?
Yeah, I say, a good coach is not one that's just going to say, oh, that's hard, just sit it out, don't even try, probably not going to get there anyway. You're not going to get your money's worth out of that coach. But a good coach is not going to beat you down and criticize you at every mistake or, push you so far to the point you're injuring yourself or burning out. A good coach is going to hold you accountable to do your best, to try, and then they're going to be there when you have those falls and those setbacks and say, awesome effort, what did you learn? And even the ability to fail gracefully is a skill, and we would never develop that skill if we didn't fail.
So true.
Yeah.
And what's the third C?
So with curiosity, you're aware. With compassion, you're aware without judgment. And the third C would be care. Now that you've got awareness of what needs that care, to get busy doing it. That we spend a lot of time and energy trying to control the stuff that's not within our control and forgetting that we are within our control. And that's hard enough. Self-control is not an easy thing, but it is the closest thing that's within our control. So once that you're aware of what needs that care, to prioritize and start doing that work of self-care. And as I said, sometimes the priority is get in that bubble bath and just read, take a break. And other times it's get up and push yourself and, with compassion.
Yeah.
But to push yourself to do your best. And other times it's about to set that boundary or have that really hard conversation with that person you love or, to do the hard stuff. Or sometimes it's as basic as get in the shower, brush your teeth.
I could really see where the 3 C's would be cyclical, because sometimes people try to do whatever it is that they've decided is going to be a step forward to do the care part, and then it doesn't work.
Right.
And then they're hard on themselves, like, well, that's it for me. I can't do this anymore.
Right.
When really, you show compassion and try again, try something different, and keep on going.
Yeah. Perfect exists in the world of numbers and and things like that. But there is no perfect, and there's certainly no done when it comes to self-care. That that's like we take out the garbage and then we have to take it out again and again. We take our showers and then we have to take them again. We eat and then we have to eat again.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing effort. There's no finish to it, and we're always going to be dealt different psychological injuries. And just as like we would take time to heal from a physical injury or sickness with no stigmas attached to that, we need to do the same when it comes to mental health. Things that will knock us off our game are things like trying and failing. Even again, if that's a good thing, it could still sting. It's not the result we were hoping for, but sometimes the result we need in order to learn. But still, that failure can hurt, rejection can hurt. Just feeling that sense of not belonging, all of those things sort of, again, it's that check engine sign on the car saying, hey, something needs a little care right now. Maybe it's taking time to heal and boost yourself up from the inside out, telling yourself you are worthy of love and belonging. You will make effort and make progress for it. But that there's no done to it, that we're always, the self-esteem ebbs and flows. Our needs change daily, sometimes by the moment. Our best changes every day. And so depending on what energy we woke up with that day.
Yeah, just different seasons of life,
Yep.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to interact with you and your business in real life, how do they do that?
So I teach 2 open open classes at Uru. And they're open level, meaning I start at beginner and teach optional challenges for anyone who's more intermediate. And those are at Uru on 9 Mile Road, Tuesdays at 5:30 and Fridays at 1. And those are open to anybody that is open to trying yoga, and I will be gentle. So please come try yoga. And then I work one-on-one with women. I'm a mental health counselor, and so I work exclusively now with women who are working through depression or anxiety, who just need some help with stress management or self-care, and trauma and things like that. So If they want to get in touch with me for that, for the one-on-one, they would go to my website, self-haven.com, and there's an application there they can apply. And I take a variety of insurances.
Oh, you do? I thought you were cash only. Okay,
Yep,
that's great.
TRICARE, East and Prime, and Cigna, and Beacon Health, and Blue Cross
Wow.
Blue Shield.
Wow, that's really great. And if somebody wants to, let me back up. Do you do any like virtual counseling?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I've dabbled in it, but not typically.
So more in person right now.
Yeah.
And if somebody just wants to follow your wisdom online, where is there a place online or social media that they can be inspired and
Yeah, well, they can go to my website, self-haven.com, and I'm posting articles and things like that all the time. They can go to my Facebook page. My professional Facebook page is, I think it's selfhaven.selfcare, or the opposite.
just search Self-Haven?
Self-Haven
Okay.
on Facebook, and then at self_haven on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I know that everyone will be very excited to put into practice what they've learned today. And if you listened or watched this episode and I did not ask Melissa a question that you wanted to ask, then message me. You can message me on Instagram at Meredith for Real, and then I'll send out a bonus episode after I get all the answers out of her. And you can get that bonus episode via email. You can sign up for that at meredithforreal.com. Thank you so much for being here. That was awesome.
Thank
you did great.
you.
That's a wrap.
Yay!
Beautiful job, my friend.